Hi everyone, I'm Lynette Schaefer, and in this video, I will be introducing you to LED luminaires. As we reviewed in the previous videos, there are a number of lamps that can replace traditional light sources, and equally, there are a number of fixtures also available for interior and exterior applications, as well as emergency lighting. As we begin looking at LED fixture solutions, there are a number of fixture retrofit kits, that exist using LED technology. So yes, there are fixtures and there are fixture retrofits too. For the most part, there is an LED solution that nearly looks like a traditional fixture. They are just maybe designed a bit differently from traditional fixtures. So an LED luminaire is a complete lighting unit, just like a traditional luminaire. However, all LED fixtures and lamps, for that matter, consist of a standalone or integrated driver. There is also a housing as well as some kind of heat sink, which in many cases, like this example, the housing actually acts as a heat sink, and this helps transfer heat away from the LED diodes, ensuring the diodes don't get too hot. It also contains an LED module or chips or diodes, whatever you want to call them, as well as a reflector or a lens, or maybe sometimes a combination of both. As a side note, some LED luminaires are referred to as tube-ready fixtures. Tube-ready fixtures mean that the LED module or the chips are actually just LED replacement lamps. So in these cases, the LED fixture really only consists of a housing and then the lamp holders and potentially a lens, and then you just buy a replacement LED lamp that goes into that fixture. That is referred to as tube-ready fixtures, which we'll talk a little bit more about here in a bit. Another example of the components of an LED fixture, we're going to use this floodlight. You basically, in this particular case, you've got the optics, the LED chips, the housing, which is also acting as the heatsink, and then there's a circuit board inside that is acting as the driver. And yet another example, this is using a downlight. You probably recall the traditional downlight. They have a housing, they also have a trim and a baffle, which many times are all separate parts. Then, of course, you have the lamp that actually goes inside of it. Well, with LEDs, it's not the case at all. As a matter of fact, most LED downlights are just one complete unit, as you can see in this example. Additionally, sometimes the trim color can be changed in the field because sometimes some downlights actually have the trim right here that is magnetized and that it can easily be changed, which I believe we'll show you here in a little bit. So now that you know the components of an LED fixture specifically, let's move into how traditional light sources can be replaced with an LED fixture, upgraded using an LED fixture retrofit for retrofit applications, or maybe you just need to specify an LED fixture for a new construction project. That's certainly simple and easy to do as well. First of all, let's talk about decorative solutions. Some of these fixtures have LEDs that are integrated. Others, you have to purchase an LED lamp similar to a traditional fixture. Just like all LED lamps, not all LED fixtures are dimmable. So it's also important in decorative situations to pay attention to the type of dimming, whether it's triac or 0 to 10 volts. Now you're going to learn more about that in the controls training. But the key with decorative fixtures is sometimes they're going to be going into restrooms. So be sure to also pay attention to the location rating. So one, you got to think about dimming. Two, you've got to think about the location ratings as well. Otherwise, for the most part, there are a lot of different types of LED decorative fixtures that exist. This is just a few of them. And again, some of them have the LED circuit board or the LED board embedded or integrated into the fixture, while others, you actually have to buy a lamp. Let me see if I can find what I was looking for here, but you basically have to buy an LED lamp and you would put it into the fixture, kind of like what this one here is looking like. So if you're ever doing a specification and it doesn't say that it's integrated, or it shows that maybe you have to buy an LED lamp to go in it, just kind of keep that in mind. So talking about location ratings, when it comes to those decorative fixtures, a lot of times, like I mentioned, they're going into restrooms. And it's important to understand that these types of fixtures can have a dry, a damp, or a wet location. As a matter of fact, you're going to find dry, damp, and wet locations listing not only on decorative fixtures, but you're also going to find them on other fixtures such as downlights. So the NEC and the UL has definitions for dry, damp, and wet location. You can read them here. You can also Google it. I think the easiest way to explain it is wet location is inside the shower. Damp location is just outside the shower, and a dry location is not near the shower at all. okay? So that's the easiest way that I think about it. So since we're talking about location ratings, another type of location rating that is not usually found on decorative fixtures, but found in many outdoor and industrial fixtures is an IP rating. IP stands for ingress protection and is used to define a level of sealing effectiveness of fixtures against intrusions from things like dirt, water, and dust. Common IP ratings for lighting are IP 44, IP 54, IP 65, 66, and IP 67. The first number is the intrusion of solid objects, while the second number is moisture protection. This chart is a nice chart to refer to further understand IP ratings. IP 44 is the most common that you'll probably see for downlights. And that just basically means that the fixture will be protected against splashing water. So think of a shower or outdoor area like a covered walkway. When you start getting into industrial and exterior applications, there are also another type of hazardous or another type of location rating, and that is hazardous location, which is different from wet, dry, damp, and IP. So while we're talking about location ratings, I might as well go ahead and talk about this real quick. And so hazardous location is a bit of a niche market. Not all manufacturers sell hazardous location fixtures. These fixtures are usually noted by, say, a class 1 div 2 or class 2 div 2, similar to IP ratings, but they are way more robust. They are way more tougher, and they're more for hazardous locations. And again, this is a little bit more of a niche marketplace. Not all manufacturers are going to sell hazardous location fixtures. All right, so let's go ahead and move in from decorative to downlights. Now, LED downlights come in various shapes and sizes, with the most common downlights being either round or square. However, they can also be cylinder, oval, or rectangular. The sizes are usually 4, 6, and 8, with 4 and 6 being the most common. However, there are a lot of other sizes available from 1 inch all the way up to 10 inch. As a matter of fact, we are starting to see more and more downlights become smaller, the diameter being smaller, the actual fixture itself becoming smaller, because a lot of people like smaller points, I guess, in their ceilings. But at any rate, you can have a lot of different sizes, but 4 and 6 are definitely the most common. Downlights can be installed in many different types of installations. They can be retrofitted into existing housings. They can also be used in remodel situations or brand new construction. A retrofit downlight can easily install into a screw-in base housing. There's no electrician needed. You just simply unscrew the lamp and screw the retrofit downlight in, very much like you do with a replacement LED lamp. But instead, you get a nice new trim to go along with it, rather than just replacing the lamp. Remodel downlights installs from below the ceiling in applications where above ceiling access is not available, usually secured in place by factory installed remodel springs that are attached to the downlight. The remodel springs accommodate ceilings from a ½ inch to about an inch and a little over an inch thick, I suppose. And these are usually, fairly simple to install. Sometimes it's kind of nice when there's a J-box present too. A remodel, you can easily, in some cases, put a downlight directly into that J-box because they're small enough to do that. When it comes to new construction, LED downlights are designed for those situations with visible ceiling joists. That's why we call it new construction, and there's no drywall. Or maybe you can also put these in a drop ceiling that have ceiling tiles. Many new construction LED downlights will require a housing or a J-box. Most of our new construction downlights only require a J-box. There's no housing, although some manufacturers do have housings with their LEDs. We just don't do it. We just think it's an extra component you don't need. And quite honestly, it makes it for a much super simple, easy install process. All right. Now, there are different ways that LED downlights can also be mounted. So for the most part, LED downlights can be mounted 3 different ways: direct mount, J-box mount, and screw in, or what we refer to as retrofitted, very similar to screwing in a replacement LED lamp. There are a few other ways downlights can be mounted, but there are these 3 happen to be my favorite because it provides the most flexibility for customers, and it's probably the most common that are out there. So the direct mount means that no J-box or housing is needed. Of course, you do need to make your appropriate electrical connection using the appropriate box, but the J box, but the fixture itself does not have to necessarily attach to anything. See those little clips on the side of that fixture? It actually goes up inside the fixture, up inside the ceiling, and then they come down. So that way the fixture kind of stays in place. Also, when you're looking at J-box mount, that means the fixture directly attaches to the J-box. So you can see the back of this right here that actually goes up inside the J-box. This little trim piece right here comes off, and then you take screws and you screw it all the way up through to the J-box. And that's how that one installs. Very similar to how this one installs. And this one here also connects directly to the J-box as well. Super easy install. That's why I really like that one. So while this video is playing, I will talk to you a little bit more about retrofit or screw-in downlights. These are really nice because you actually take the existing baffle and trim out of the existing housing, as you can see here in the video, and then you take the retrofit housing kit and you basically screw it into that existing medium screw-in base socket. And then you push it up into that existing can, and those clips on the side attach to the existing can. Super easy way to get a nice new looking fixture without having to completely redo the fixture. And it's a really simple, easy design. So we just discussed construction types, retrofit, remodel, or new construction. We also talked about how they actually mount, but now let's talk about recessed versus surface downlights. As I mentioned earlier, not all LED downlights are recessed. Many could actually be surface mounted. The simplest explanation of a recessed downlight is a recessed downlight means that part of the downlight protrudes into the ceiling. A surface downlight, on the other hand, means that the entire downlight is mounted to the J-box or inside. Everything kind of goes up inside the J-box, so nothing protrudes into the ceiling cavity. Why is this important? Well, the reason this is important is because there is such a thing as IC ratings. And the IC ratings for fixtures, not just downlights, but other fixtures in general, the IC ratings basically deal with whether or not a fixture can come into direct contact with insulation. As you can see in these two images, the one on the left has insulation directly against the fixture, while the fixture on the right does not. Because the fixture on the left is in direct contact with insulation, that means it's IC rated. The image on the right-hand side is non-IC rated. This is true with any fixture that has a potential of coming in contact with insulation. These fixtures have to have some kind of IC rating. All right, let's move on to Troffers. So when it comes to Troffers, the LED solution for a basket fixture looks pretty much the same from the traditional basket fixture. But when it comes to the traditional lay-in style, we actually now call those panels. Both of these typically come in 1x4, 2x2, and 2x4s and are recessed or surface mounted. Some of them can even be, especially the panels, can be hung from cables, kind of giving you more of a cool sort of look up in the ceiling. Now, these products, as well as many LED fixtures, now feature the ability to select your color temperature and your wattage upon install. Usually there are switches on the back of the fixture or on the driver, and this basically just allows the installer to easily choose the wattage or the CCT when they're on the job site. Plus, the distributors don't have to stock so many products either. Now, you may not be able to see this, but panels are very, very slim in nature, almost like a flat panel TV. So it's great for spaces where there isn't a lot of ductwork, or if there is a lot of ductwork in the cavity, in the ceiling cavity. Anytime that maybe there's a low plenum or there's not enough space in the ceiling cavity, panels or something similar to a panel is very, very good solution. So there are two types of panels. There's an edge-lit and there is a backlit. With an edge-lit panel, this is also very suitable for plenums that are very low in nature, not much space. So with an edge-lit panel, the LED chips are actually arranged on the inner edge of the luminaire, and the light then bounces down toward a diffuser, while a backlit panel actually has LED chips that are arranged down the back of the frame of the fixture, and the light comes straight out of the fixture through a diffuser. Both of these are really good for shallow plenum spaces. Sometimes it's hard to tell the difference between these two products, but just remember the backlit panel is usually lighter in weight, and then it's slightly deeper profile than the edge lit panel, as you can kind of see the side-by-side view here on the left-hand side or on the right-hand side. Now, another product that has been introduced to the market is something called a Troffer retrofit kit or door housing kit. Many manufacturers have something like this, and installers love it because they can utilize the existing fixture. This, of course, can save a lot of time on installation and disposal costs. And also, this door housing kit accelerates installation time and greatly reduces waste and cleanup. So this has become a very popular thing in our industry, these door housing kits. And a lot of it's just the driving motivation factor is that the installers can put it in so much quicker than a traditional light fixture or a brand new LED fixture. Some manufacturers have also come out with what they're referring to as a retrofit, a retrofit for troffers and strips that basically look a little bit different. The one on the left-hand side is actually what we refer to as a retrofit, a universal retrofit kit. This one here, it does use the existing fixture, but there's no door housing kit or frame kit like you saw in the previous example. It almost looks like a lamp. It features an easy one-person magnetic installation. In this case, this one is dimming. You can string together runs, in some cases all the way up to 800 watts. Now, the unique design of this retrofit kit is that it has these light bars, which are secured to the surface of the existing housing with the use of these powerful magnets and mechanical screws. The number of light bars within the fixture just depends on what kind of light output your customer wants. Now, the other one on the right-hand side of the screen here, sorry, this one here is more of a traditional, true, what I would say a true retrofit door housing kit, because it has a lens, it has everything combined as one. So two different ways, actually three different ways. The door housing kit you saw on the previous slide. This one here on the left-hand side, which is just basically lamps that you can string together, no individual drivers or anything like that. And then the other one's just a basic strip retrofit as well. So a couple different solutions when it comes to retrofitting. Strips and wraps haven't changed a whole lot from the traditional looking fixture. However, in many cases, the LEDs are integrated and usually require a lens to help reduce glare. If you didn't put a lens on a lot of these strip fixtures or any of these LED fixtures, it would be just so intense you wouldn't be able to stand it. Now, the nice thing about having the LEDs integrated is that it allows the LEDs to last a lot longer. So take this jelly jar fixture, for instance. If you were to put a replacement lamp inside of a traditional jelly jar, the lamp would most likely get way too hot and burn out pretty quickly. So anytime the LED is integrated into the fixture, the entire unit works together to help dissipate the heat. The only thing that I would also add is manufacturers do make tube-ready strips and tube-ready wraps, as well as tube-ready high bays. Tube-ready products just basically means that it utilizes a housing, or the fixture, it has the housing, it has the tombstones, and then you typically just use a type B lamp. You can sometimes use a type C if there's enough room to mount the driver inside the housing. And then what's nice about these types of products, the tube-ready products, is that it allows the end user to choose their wattage, choose their CCT, and there's no electrician needed if the lamp burns out. You can imagine if the LED is integrated into the fixture. Take, for instance, this Walpack, the LEDs are up inside here. If you had to get in here, you'd have to have an electrician get in there to be able to make any modifications to that fixture and replace the LED board or whatever if it goes bad. With a tube-ready product, they're just LED lamps. Anybody can change those. So the biggest improvement when it comes to high bay fixtures is specifically for monopoint fixtures. And again, those are the round fixtures. And the reason I say that is because most of them now have these TIR optics. So the entire lens includes a reflector. So you can easily specify the necessary beam spread to ensure you achieve uniform light. And it also helps reduce glare. So you can kind of see this right here. This is what that looks like. That is a TIR optics and TIR optic. It's all embedded in this little flat lens. This is, of course, nice because It reduces the need or eliminates the need for those bulky reflectors like you see here. Those are sometimes like, you know, a thing of the past, as a matter of fact, get them gone. Of course, some end users still like the look of those reflectors. And if you do, these LED fixtures and many other LED fixtures, you can add that reflector on if you choose to. Some people just like the look, which is fine. And you can still add a lens to the bottom of that reflector if you want as well. Otherwise, the most traditional LED fixtures now, you don't need it. It's just all right there. And it makes for a very slim, almost pancake type of design. All right, so as I mentioned, many new LED luminaires don't use the big reflectors because the optics are now built into the fixture. Again, these are called TIR optics. It stands for total internal reflector, and it includes the optics, the reflector, and it also ensures for a solid beam accuracy as well. It's a very nice change from the traditional HIDs, and it also makes the luminaire not take up so much room in the ceiling. And of course, it's that much more flat, almost like a pancake kind of look, like I mentioned. Also, the nice thing about this is that you can easily add controls to these fixtures. It is super simple and easy. We'll talk more about controls in a different training, but in either cases, this linear fixture has an easy way to add controls, as does this HID or this replacement high bay monopoint, as does this one here too. So lots of options there. Also, don't forget, I already mentioned this earlier, but the IP ratings, the hazardous location ratings, these all come into an extreme amount of play when you are looking at high bay applications. And also keep in mind the ambient temperatures too. Always refer to the spec sheet to make sure that when you're specifying a LED fixture, that it does not exceed the ambient temperature rating of the space. So before we switch to outdoor fixtures, I just wanted to briefly mention that emergency lighting really hasn't changed. This may have been because this probably happened a long time ago. A lot of people had already started to convert to LED technology for exit signs, simply because emergency lighting has to be tested on a monthly basis for safety and liability reasons. As you can imagine, old technology doesn't last very long, and it also is a maintenance nightmare to have to go test every single one of those fixtures too. With new LED fixtures, many come with something that's called self-diagnostics that basically have a light on them to notify the maintenance person if the fixture isn't working. And sometimes there's also a little push button that you can also push. The maintenance person can just go around pushing the button to see if the fixture is working properly. So it's really nice to be able to have that flexibility and the ease of maintenance now with these LED emergency type fixtures. Now, additionally, you may find that some manufacturers also have remote heads. An LED remote head emergency light provides lighting when power is lost by providing ample visibility for exits and walkways that are leading to the doors. Remote emergency light also does meet the ordinances and codes to stay open without having to worry about paying hefty fines and citations. Emergency lighting is very important when it comes to that. So as we move into exterior lighting, specifically garage and canopy, most of the same form factor, just a smaller size than traditional fixtures. They also have better optics and optics that can be changed in the field too, which is a nice little feature. So the reason for that is you can now direct the light exactly where you want it. Better optics also make them more efficient. You can also, with these types of fixtures, easily add controls if you need to. Plus, you also get greater lumen output with way less watts used. So not shown here, many customers will use vapor tight fixtures in these applications too. It's not uncommon to use a vapor tight in a garage or a canopy. This just happens to be the 3 fixtures that I put in specifically for these applications. As a side note, most canopy fixtures are not allowed to be used in gas stations unless they are rated for use in that type of application. The reason for this is because gas stations require fixtures that have a specific seal for gas vapors. That has recently been brought to our attention in the last year or so. So definitely keep that in mind that does exist. Area lights have reduced in size. There's no doubt about that. In a lot of cases, they also have reduced in weight. Another cool feature is that with some of these products, you can remote mount the driver. So for instance, take this SIG fixture. You can remove the driver housing and mount it closer to the ground so that it can be maintenance more easily instead of having to go up a 40-foot pole. And also the other nice thing about these is that you can also easily add controls, which is another really great feature. And then lastly, being able to have the ability to throw the light further with the correct optics is also something that is really nice about LED fixtures. Now, I know I mentioned optics a couple times, so let's dig into this just a little bit further. So optics plays a huge role in achieving uniform lighting. It also ensures that the light out of the fixture is going where it should go, but lamps and fixtures will have some kind of optic that helps direct the light. So that is the most important thing. Most lamps and fixtures will have some kind of optic that helps direct the light. Yes. With interior, some interior fixtures usually have what we refer to as a beam angle, and that beam angle or cutoff angle is anywhere between 10 and 120. This is, again, also known as cutoff angle. We use this to describe the cone of light produced by the downlight. The smaller the cutoff angle of the beam, the smaller the circle of light will be on the floor. This means a light that you are trying to, or a fixture that you have that you're trying to light up low ceiling height, you want to make sure that you can use a large cutoff angle, say 120-degree beam spread. But if the room has a really high ceiling, you can probably get by using a smaller cutoff. When it comes to lighting design for exterior applications, it does get a little bit more difficult because many times we have to make sure we aren't blanketing the entire area with light. For instance, you may have a parking lot next to a residential area. You don't want a bunch of light trespass into like maybe a homeowner's window or something. For this reason, exterior fixtures have different distribution types. They range from a type 1 to a type 5, and some manufacturers are even coming out with even more options to really help throw the light in the exact spot it needs to go. Similarly, floodlights have different distribution patterns and types too. It could be maybe say a 2x2, 3x5, a 4x4. In order to determine which one you need, you just need to understand the area you're trying to light. Remember, quantity doesn't equal quality. It's about making sure you use the appropriate amount of light and put the light where you need it to go by using different beam and distribution types. So when you're looking at specifying a LED fixture, take into consideration where the fixture is going and take into consideration what type of beam spread or what type of distribution you need to light up that exterior applications. The right light source with the appropriate number of lumens along with the right distribution results in a nice uniform light level and no wasted light. The photo on the top, of course, is poorly lit because of the blocks of light, while the photo on the bottom has nice uniform lighting. It also doesn't have any light trespass onto the neighboring road. As we begin to dig into different light sources and you start seeing and looking at spec sheets, you're going to start seeing that the distribution is extremely important, as is the lumen light level. As you can see here, just some ideas. The first one on the right-hand side, this is an example of a type 2 distribution. And this one here, although it's not a great, great example, this one here is actually showing fixtures that have a type 5 distribution. A type 5 distribution gives you light in a 360-degree basic square or round circle, and it comes out directly around the entire fixture. And you can kind of see that by those blocks of light that are in that parking lot. Now, the key to highlight with flood or Walpack solutions is that they look very similar to traditional floods and Walpacks. I mean, they haven't changed a whole lot. However, the lens seem to not yellow and get brittle nearly as quickly. Some of this is due to the fact that some of these fixtures use glass lens now versus plastic. Many of these fixtures also have controls that are integrated where the fixture will turn on or off at dusk. It's nice to be able to buy a product that already has the dusk to dawn feature embedded. And then the other thing that I just wanted to mention with exterior lighting is it's really important to be considerate of neighboring homes and respect the night sky. I mentioned this a little bit earlier. This is something that we refer to in the lighting industry as dark skies. It exists because there is the need to protect and restore the natural nighttime environment. Light pollution is when light from a fixture goes where it's not wanted or needed. This could be into neighboring windows, perhaps up into the sky, maybe behind a fixture where light isn't required. Light pollution can also happen when fixtures are producing too much or excessive light. This wasted and unnecessary light affects our health, the environment, wildlife, and our ability to observe the stars and other great things the natural sky provides. Bright outdoor lights are not as safe as they appear. Take an outdoor Walpack or some kind of security or accent light. If that fixture is super bright, it can actually cause glare. And when glare is present, it can make the space less safe and secure because you can't see as well as you think you should. The reason for this is because when it's really bright outside, bright light is present, your pupils adjust that make it harder to see objects. Kind of like if you're at night sleeping and you get up to go to the bathroom, you turn the light on, you're like, oh my gosh, it's really bright. But then when you go to leave and go back to bed, it's super dark and you can't see anything. Same kind of principle. A bunch of light is not the right solution, and it can actually be blinding. And additionally, that glare can cause you not to see who you should be potentially seeing. All right, so there's actually something that deals with dark sky, and this is something new. DLC now provides certification for something they refer to as Luna. If a product meets the requirements for Luna, the product spec will include product minimizes light pollution, provides appropriate visibility for people, and limits negative impacts to the environment. Luna is something that just came out in 2022, so it's very new, but you are going to start seeing more and more products have that Luna certification. Other certifications that fixtures can achieve are DLC and DLC Premium. Just so you know, DLC stands for Design Lights Consortium, and if a lighting product or fixture has earned the certification from that organization, basically just signals a high level of energy efficiency. DLC usually applies to commercial LED luminaires. It also applies to those retrofit kits I showed you. It does also apply to linear replacement lamps, Mogul E39 and E40 screw-in based replacement lamps, and 4-pin based replacement lamps for CFLs. Those are all the products that you will most likely see DLC. Products that earn the DLC qualification are also often eligible for rebates through various energy efficiency programs. There is such a thing as DLC and DLC Premium. By the way, we are also now on DLC 5.1. I believe that happened just sometime in mid-2022. But there are a lot of fixtures out there that either meet DLC, just the regular DLC 5.1 or DLC Premium as well. Now, there are two more certifications. One is Title 20, Title 24, and JA8. This actually applies to LED lamps and fixtures. No matter if you're dealing with Title 20, 24, or JA8, all of these apply to the state of California. Title 20 is different than Title 24 because it only regulates efficiency of products, while Title 24 specifically deals with the building itself. So Title, did I say that wrong? I think I said that. Oh, no, Title 20, that's right. Title 20 specifically deals with the products. Title 24 specifically deals with the building itself. JA8 is an appendix of Title 24 and further identifies the codes and rules pertaining to California's energy regulations. JA8 requires all lighting to be high efficacy, meaning that many applications must use JA8 certified light sources in order to comply. In order to become JA8 certified, lamps and fixtures must meet really strict requirements and pass rigorous testing, including lumen per watt ratings, dimming requirements, lifespan, and color rendering requirements. Once the light source meets these requirements, then it has to be approved by the state of California, registered with the CEC, and all certified light sources have to have a stamp. Used to have JA8 2016, but I believe that's changing, that all products have to have a stamp that says JA8 2022. It hasn't gone into effect yet, but I believe that's on the horizon. At the end of the day, the key takeaway is to know that if you're selling product to be used in the state of California, be sure that the products have the appropriate labels, and also know that manufacturers are doing their best to meet these strict requirements, because it's very important if you don't. And the last certification is EiKO ratings. EiKO means impact protection, and it's an international numeric classification, and it indicates degrees of protection against external impacts. So when we say EiKO, say 07 or EiKO 7, that means it's protected against 2 joules of impact, all right, which is equivalent to, this is the best way to put it, it's equivalent to an impact of about a 1.1 pound weight that is dropped from a pendulum about 16 inches away. And that little thing looks something like that. So you put the fixture right here, you swing the pendulum, and then that's how you get your EiKO rating. Many exterior fixtures do have EiKO ratings, and it will also be noted on the spec sheet. Thank you, and if you would like a course completion certificate, please email me. Don't forget, there's 2 N's in Lynette. Thanks again for your time today.